Dunno.
Where?
Down near the docks, under the Botany Road overpass.
She knew that part of Sydney, committed the information to memory. I need a name.
I don't know. We pick up the stuff from this guy, pay him cash. 'Cause we were friends with Chad, he sent us after Sash for what she and Chad owed.
The name immediately registered. You're talking about Chad Garvin, correct? The one found dead in a garbage bag at the dump last week.
Yeah. He said if we mucked him around, he'd send Bull after us too.
She inched closer. Who's Bull?
One that took out Chad.
A little closer again. She pushed her luck, took another step. Glass crunched underfoot. When are you supposed to meet the one you deal with? The siren sounded, closed in. His eyes rounded on hers.
You lied! I didn't! Wait!
Panicked, he stepped back into nothing. The knife fell from Sasha's throat as he flung out his arms to reach the wall for balance. Indy lunged, got a hand on Sasha and twisted and threw what weight she could towards keeping her in the building. The painful, heavy landing on the tiled floor was a relief. There was a scream. When she untangled herself and looked up, he was gone. Matthew shot from his hiding place and threw himself into his mother's arms, wailing.
Thank you.
Sasha's voice was trembling with emotion. She clung to her son and turned tear-filled eyes up to her.
Thank you.
Indy squeezed Sasha's arm in reassurance, smoothed a gentle hand over Matthew's curls. Then she stood up and moved to the broken window. Beneath her, the dealer's body lay staring sightlessly back up at her. "Damn it," she muttered. She'd hoped he might have survived. Second-story falls weren't always fatal. But he'd landed on concrete, his blood spattering the patio.
"Look out!"
Sasha's warning had her spinning as the guy she'd thought she'd knocked out launched himself at her. In the scuffle, his forehead crashed against her temple and the smack of his fist into her cheek sent her head reeling. But a well-placed elbow and a strike to the side of the knee dropped him and she got him under her, his hands behind his back, just as the pounding of feet up the stairs told her backup had arrived. Senior Constable Patricia Langdon gave Indy a pat on the back. "Well done," she said as the surviving perp was assisted from the paddy wagon towards the holding cells of the Sydney police station. "Thanks, but I don't feel much like celebrating. I don't consider it a very good outcome when someone falls out of a window." She walked into the brightly lit station and down the corridor towards her office. Patricia shrugged. "A drug dealer took a 2-story dive. You'll go through the usual rigmarole, debrief. Nothing to worry about." The dead boy's image flashed into Indy's mind. The lifeless stare, the blood. For a moment his face blurred into another image, that of her mother and her grandmother, bodies tangled on the kitchen floor with the same unseeing stare on both their faces. There'd been blood then, too. So much blood. She pulled herself together with difficulty, swallowed back the anger. He had a family. He wasn't much more than a kid. Someone's kid, Pat. "How's the mother and the little boy?" She took a steadying breath, released it. "Together and in one piece. Sasha's putting herself into rehab." "Then there's your good outcome. Focus on that. What's on tonight?" "A long soak in a hot bath and an early night." Pat snorted. "You're such a party animal. Hey, the other guy didn't exactly come quietly." She rolled her shoulder and tried to unlock the kink in her neck. "Indy, got a minute?" The tall, suited figure of Detective Ben Bowden stood in the doorway of his office. "Sure, Ben," she said, turning to her friend. "I'll see you later, Pat." "Enjoy that bath," Pat said with a smile as she walked away. Ben stepped into the corridor and closed the door. "I heard what happened. You okay?" She rubbed her temples against the beginnings of a headache as a fluoro light above them flickered on, off. "Will be, and I've got another lead. I was out there to talk to Sasha about her murdered boyfriend because in her initial statement to police, she revealed he'd been dealing for D'Angelo. When I arrived, 2 minor dealers had already been there a while, messed the place up. They were there to collect the money Sasha had been too scared to pay back in person. The perp that later died told me if he didn't get the cash..."